Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, thank you. Jeremy and the Renegade Monks, can we give them some love, please? Oh, anybody in here feel like sometimes it's all falling apart? Oh, but we know in unity, what we know is that when it feels like something's falling apart, what it's actually doing is breaking through, right? That there's always something that is seeking to emerge in our life. Breathe into that, okay? There's always something new. There's always something more. And that is always trying to break through. And so part of what we're always being invited to do, I love the sounds of the baby, a part of what we're always being incited to do is to be like that little baby, right? To just be curious, to be open, to be willing to look past what we already know. So whatever part of you thinks you're done, think you've got it all figured out, well, number one, I bow down to you. Right? I bow down to you on that. But number two, that's not real. It's not real. And the more sure we are of things in our life, that the form of the things in our life, the less focused we are on the truth of who we are and the truth that undergirds everything that is life. Okay? What we want to always be doing is shifting our focus from the form of it to the truth of it. And so what that means that we actually have everything we need, right? We have all the wisdom we need. We have all the grace we need. We have all the creativity that we need. And this is our year of empowerment, and what we've been talking about is that empowered communities don't panic at crossroads. They get curious. Because those crossroads, anybody in here have some crossroads happening in your life? Have you ever been at a crossroads? And part of us wants to just be like, and what if we just get curious? What's trying to reveal itself here? What new thing is trying to make itself known? How am I being invited to grow and transform myself? Because we all know here at Unity, it's an inside job. It all starts right here first. And so the wisdom that we are is never outside of us. It's not something that we're waiting for. Charles Fillmore said, when we commune with the spirit within and ask for new ideas, they are always forthcoming. Always. Not sometimes. Not when conditions are right. Always forthcoming. And that's really radical. Can you feel how radical that is? That there is something that we can access that is always available to us. And it's the foundation of everything that we're activating together as a community. That we can root ourselves in the wisdom that is here. So the question that we get to ask ourselves, because we're at a crossroads, right? We have had this beautiful model that has supported this community, and because of changes in the world around us, our school, which is a big part of how we are able to be here and live into our mission, is struggling right now. And that's preschools across the state. We are not unique in this. For those of you who don't know, 4-year-olds now can go to public school for pre-K. So enrollment is just down. And guess what? They're going to make that 3-year-olds very soon too. Right? So the question that we want to be asking ourselves as we come to these kinds of crossroads is not, how do we hold on? Because that's where we first go, right? How do I keep this? How do I make this exactly the way it's always been? But instead, we want to ask, what are we being called to create? Everybody say that. What are we being called to create? Can you feel the difference in the energy? One of them is about, and the other one just kind of opens us up to something, right? To something exciting. So the wisdom for our next chapter, it's already here. Look around at each other. It's present right here in each one of us, right? It lives in the decades of commitment and prayer and spiritual practice. It lives in each one of us. And so, what are we being called to create? How are we best called to fulfill our mission and our vision and our purpose? Can you feel how that makes it makes me naturally curious. Is anybody with me around it making you curious? Right? Now, I get it. I always say to people, I love change, right? Change makes me happy. If I'm too stuck, I kind of struggle, right? I love change. Y'all don't have to love change as much as I do. It's okay. But I'm going to invite you into just a sliver of it. How does that sound? Right? Just a sliver of it. How many people in here are already feeling resistance to everything I've said? You think I don't know you, but I do. And I love you for it. So I want you to understand that there's actually power in your resistance, right? There's actually power in the part of you that's going, wait, not sure about that. Because we want to look at it from the way we hold spiritual ideals, which is that resistance that we're feeling. And this goes for anything in your life. This isn't just about what Unity and Marin is in the midst of as a community. This is in your own life too. Where are you feeling resistance? Because wherever that resistance is showing up, it's usually because we're attached to the way something is, and we're afraid that we're going to lose it. We're afraid of the loss. We're afraid of the pain of that loss. We're afraid that something that is near and dear will literally, that it will be lost to us. These are the moments. You know, I do a lot of memorials and celebrations of life. And I'm always fascinated as I watch people who aren't from our teaching, and I watch them try to navigate. In Unity, we call that a transition, right? Because we understand that there's an eternality there, there's something that is the truth, and so it's a transition in form. I don't know how I understand why the world is so, sometimes in so much despair. Because if you believe more in the form than you do in the underlying spiritual principle, then all you experience in your life is loss. But if you can shift your focus, and it's not that we ignore the loss in the sense of, I wish Colleen Porter was around to make me laugh, right? We don't ignore that. But we also celebrate the joy that she is, the energy that she is, the way that that still lives on in me. That's the spiritual principle. So now it's not just loss that I'm feeling. I'm also feeling joy, and I'm feeling gratitude, and I'm feeling appreciation. So the form that love takes is always going to change. But love itself, that is a constant, and we're never going to lose it. Breathe into that with me for a second. We're never going to lose that. It may look different. It may not look the way we wished it would look. But I know from my own personal experience that all the things that I had resistance about, and I've shared how I resisted becoming a minister, right? The resistance because I was attached to another life. I was attached to being an actor. When I finally let go of the form that I thought that it had to take, my entire world opened up. And yes, there was some sense of loss because that identity wasn't there anymore. But I got to tell you, what I have walked into is so much bigger and so much greater and so much better than my little small idea. The form itself is the smallest understanding of the divine idea behind it. What we want to continually do is open ourselves up to that bigger divine idea. And the divine idea of Unity in Marin, the divine idea of each one of you, is love and grace and joy and connection and beauty and harmony. That is the divine idea. That's what we want to always be supporting. All of that creative energy. Because we're more than just this campus. And we're more than even just this beautiful collection of individual light beings that are here right now. We are the past. We are Candida and her band of fiery women. We are Richard Manti. We are the families that built this campus. We are Bill, and we are all the people that work so hard, Medora, to keep this space here, to keep Unity in Marin alive. But we're also whoever's coming next. We're also the next generation. All of that is who we are. And so how do we live into this divine idea? And again, in your own life, how are you going to live into the divine idea of who you are? Where are you feeling limited? Where are you feeling like you don't have any choice? Because that's not truth. You always have choice. There is always more for you to step into, for you to engage with. What are we being called to create? How can we best fulfill our mission, vision, and purpose? These are the questions that I want to invite us all to be curious about, right? These are the questions that are going to center us in our divine identity. And what that means in order for us to do this is, I've talked about this. This is straight out of the prosperity book that we just finished doing the book study on, right? Is that we need to engage with whatever is arising, which we're doing. We need to adapt to whatever is arising. And then we need to expand into this new horizon. So for those who remember, right, we start off with a thesis, it gets met with an antithesis, and that banging together, that's a good thing. It's a good thing, because what arises out of that is a new thesis, the synthesis. And that's what we're in the midst of right here, and in every aspect of your life, you are in this same process. There is something that you have decided is truth, thesis. There are things happening in your world that are telling you, oh boy. And if you allow yourself to be with all of that uncomfortableness, what arises is this beautiful new synthesis. Look at the little smiley little cheeks on that little creature there. It's actually a good thing that we're moving towards. So, what aspect of our current situation, or any situation in your own life, is asking you to stand with greater insight? What contradictions are you invited to reconcile in your own understanding? And how can differing perspectives offer greater insight rather than opposition? The invitation here is to move past the idea that there's something for or against, that we're all working together to create this new synthesis. And I got to tell you, this is what I want in the world, right? I want us to create a new synthesis in the world. So we're doing it here on the microcosm so that we are building up that capacity so that it exists everywhere. When we make this a reality in time and in space here, it becomes a reality in the entire world. Is our world ready for a new synthesis? Whew, I'd say yes, right? And it's not about wishing somebody else out there would figure it out. It's not about wishing that somebody out there is going to wake up to their true identity. It's about us doing the work and moving that needle in consciousness forward. Because I really want you to hear this. Your resistance is your devotion. They're the same thing. They're arising from the same place. And every voice is needed at the table. Every person in this community carries wisdom that no one else carries. So if you're absent, that wisdom is missing. This collective consciousness that is Unity in Marin is stronger, more creative, more innovative, more loving than anything that one person can create or two people can create. So bring it all, right? Bring it all. Bring your fear and your frustration and your doubt, and this is true in life too. Bring it all. Don't pretend. We don't pretend in this teaching. We don't have to pretend. I talk about this, right? When people say, how you doing? And you're like, oh, it's all good. And what that is code for is, my life has gone to hell. All right? We don't need to talk in code. We can be honest. We can say, I'm feeling a little bit better. It's been a journey, right? I'm doing okay. Or it's been really hard right now, so I've been doing a lot of prayer. We don't need to give everybody our life story, but we also don't need to pretend that, yay, we are not in Instagram world here, okay? We don't need to create some polished veneer of our life with all those filters. We get to let those go. We get to actually be real, because that is where transformation actually happens. So when we open and welcome divine wisdom, it's always forthcoming. The wisdom is right here because we are the wisdom that we are seeking. It is alive within each one of us. It is anchored within each one of us. And part of what our invitation is to find the voice for it. Anybody in here feel as if their voice has been shut down? That they're not being heard in the world right now? So part of what this is about is finding the voice for that inner wisdom that is the truth of who you actually are. I talked last week about our abundant legacy, right? I talked about the gifts that we can give of our time, our talent, and our treasure. I talked about the life that we live right now, the values, the presence, the consciousness that we share with the world through the lives that we touch each day. Every day that you're out there communicating, navigating the world, you are bringing light to the world. And then the love that we leave, the institutions and the teachings and the practices and the culture that we sustain so that we can pass it forward to the next generation. These are all the ways that we have can you feel how abundant our legacy is? The most important legacy gift right now is your participation in what comes next, right? That's the most important part right now. So what can you say yes to? We're having a town hall meeting today at 12 o'clock, and we're going to update everyone on what's happening, and you can join one of the Unity in Action teams. We have Legacy Giving, we have the Hamilton Montessori Outreach, we have fundraising, and we have the Reimagining Circles. You can begin a conversation about how you want to make a planned gift, and then attend the meeting today. What we're going to do is there'll be an update at the first part of the meeting, and then we're going to let all the working groups break up into groups so that you can get started, right? Because I know there's a lot of energy, so we're going to start harnessing all of that energy. I wanted to close with this quote by Myrtle because, I think it's just sort of built into the culture around us that we always expect somebody else to change or to fix it or to make it better. And Myrtle says, sometimes we pray to a God outside of ourselves. Anybody ever do that? Right? I've been on the floor, on my knees, going, why me? Right? It's okay. There is no wrong way to pray. And it is the God in the midst of us that frees and heals. So we can have those moments of panicking at the crossroads where we're going, why me? And we get to center ourselves in the God in the midst of us, that wisdom that is within each one of us, that is going to be the way, the path, the process, any way you want to look at it, of more freedom, of healing, of transformation. We're all on a path of transformation. Recognize your resistance as the devotion that it is. But perhaps your devotion is to the form rather than to the principle underneath it. And when we begin to be devoted to the principles, I cannot even begin to tell you how much freer you become. Because you can allow transformation to happen. You can allow change to happen. Because you know the truth of who you actually are. So let's take this into our time of meditation. I'm going to invite everyone to just take a deep breath. And if there's resistance, just welcome it. Welcome the voices. Welcome it all. Just allow yourself to quiet a little bit. Welcoming that space, that place that is the wisdom within, that is the spirit you are. And remember, unity, we don't understand the spirit within as like a little compartmentalized little spot in you that is wise. You, all of you, is wisdom itself. So breathing into that space, that place. Consciously choosing to quiet the activity of the mind. Welcoming that spaciousness. And inviting your resistance into the room with you, into the space with you. Recognizing it as devotion, recognizing it as love, recognizing it as commitment. And you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to change your resistance. You don't have to make it any different than it already is. But just welcome it. Breathing. Breathing the love. Breathing the grace. Breathing the infinite possibilities that are truly always available and accessible. And we're just going to quiet and we're going to listen to the wisdom that is always forthcoming for a few minutes in the silence. How good it is to be still and know. And in this moment, I'm just going to invite you to open your heart even more and to feel yourself connect up with every person that's in this room, with every person that's on the live stream. Just feeling how in the one mind and the one heart and the one breath, we are never alone. That we are all in this spaciousness and consciousness together. And that the wisdom that is ours is also the wisdom that is that collective ours. And so we bless it all. We bless wherever it crossroads we're at in our own life, whatever crossroads Unity and Marin is at, we just bless it and know that we are the wisdom we are seeking, that we are the creative energy of transformation. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. So the affirmation for today, I'll say it first, is we are the wisdom we seek, we are the love we need, we are the creative energy we have been waiting for. Can we say this together, please? We are the wisdom we seek, we are the love we need, we are the creative energy we have been waiting for. Okay, everybody stand up if you want. We're going to do that one more time. That just needs, shake it out a little, shake it out a little. We're going to wake up our bodies. We're going to make this a whole body experience. You can even say it to each other, okay? I'll say each line, and then you can repeat it after me and say it to each other, so you don't even have to look at the slide, okay? We are the wisdom we seek. We are the love we need. We are the creative energy we have been waiting for. And so it is. Amen.